Keith, what I've always wondered is, with all these ball clubs flying around all season, wouldn't you think there'd be a plane crash? It's only a matter of time.
Hello guys and welcome to my first Euro 2020/2021 report as Roberto Mancini returns to the world football stage in a blazer of glory. I'm sorry, totally the wrong note to start. I just couldn't resist. Look at him, he looks like a real fashion icon. I guess if he belonged to like some sort of private posh men's sports club, I guess you could call him a fashion icon. But the might of Mancini is back, managing his home country, Italy, which basically means anything is possible. It could all end in tears, Italian 90s style, or it could all be all glory and romance. Who knows which way it is going to go at the end of 3 weeks of crazy football. So the Euros, which was once dreamed up as this beautiful expression of intercontinental diversity between many European nations, with everybody zipping across Europe fast and furious, which at the time many of us got suckered into the romance of. Now it seems a little more iffy in the wake of the pandemic, with still things very tense, and this idea of all these different teams travelling across Europe at this time. Oh boy, this may not be such a good idea, folks. Panic buttons at the ready for this summer's Euros. So, and things got off to a pretty solid start tonight between Italy, who were at home in Rome, technically away though as far as the draw's concerned, and potential dark horses for the tournament, Turkey, who had their manager who got them to the World Cup semis in 2002 returning. Things got off to a pretty smooth start in the opening ceremony in Rome, where we had a classic Italian tenor belt out a tunage or two. Who was it again? Someone remind me?
The other guy.
You! It's really you! Thank you so much, Mr. Camaro. Mr. Cassid. Well, whatever.
Of course, it's the other guy. That's who it was. Wait, what was his name again? Oh, never mind. Pretty good stuff anyway from the Italians to open things. And we even had, in one of the most hilariously cheesy moments of the night, we had a sponsor bring on the ball in a Minister designer car. Dear God, dear God. I mean, I have to say, for a moment, I thought it was them going to extremes with like some sort of COVID. It's like, oh, we can't touch the ball might have disease on it. But no, it's just some corporate nonsense. So that explains that. And hey, slag off these corporations all you want, folks, but they do provide us with absolute gold to take the piss out of. So, the world would be a sadder and poorer place without them. I mean, just look at tonight for proof of that. Now, the BBC were bringing out the big guns as always on their commentary team, and that, of course, meant who you thinking? Are you thinking Psycho Martin Keown? Was he the colour man tonight? No, it wasn't him. I mean, Mark Lawrenson can be a bit boring, but he does have tournament pedigree. No, it wasn't Lawrenson either. What about Danny Murphy? I mean, one of the great recent commentators. He's a top guy at the BBC, right? So it was Danny. No, it wasn't him. Oh. It was JJ himself, Jermaine Genius, Mr. Charisma, Mr. Personality, graced us with his presence alongside Guy Mowbray, who I have to say was a little off form tonight. But good old JJ, who I think if he was a Mr. Man character, he would be Mr. Average. That's right, Mr. Average. Someone book that. Someone write into Mr. Men, because I want that character with JJ's face on him. But JJ came out with such blinders tonight as it may be 0-0, but it's lively. So from that I can sort of gather that it only takes sexy Italian looking players moving around with great speed to get JJ all hot and bothered under the collar. So that's all very good and well. So on to the match itself, and the first half was a bit of a bore. It was mostly Italy pressure that they move so well, those sexy Italian legs. But not a lot happened. There were a couple of half chances. The best chances definitely came from the veteran Cillini, his header, which was totally a mark from a corner, and it was a good header, but the keeper also made a very good save. And I have to say, it was a really bizarre sort of first half. First of all, the Italians were in white, and that just feels wrong. So we had the bizarre spectacle of them being the away side playing at home. Go figure that. It must be a 2021 thing. And really, Turkey weren't that good defensively. I think it was more that the Italians lacked a bit of cutting edge. For all their movement, for all their sort of fancy plays down the flanks, they were struggling to sort of carve Turkey open. No pun intended. I'll pretend that I meant that one. I'll take that cred. But Turkey, for their part, were not really exploiting the sort of pace they have on the counter attack. They look very, very poor. Things didn't really burst into life till the sort of closing moments of the first half. And I think that was because of that classic Turkish dive. I mean, if you want any more evidence than things are topsy-turvy, with Italy actually playing the sort of more aggressive forward game, then just look no further than them actually being outclassed when it comes to diving by another team. I have to say that Turkish player really showed the Italians how to do it when it comes to diving, and in that he becomes the boss of the day, because that actually led to something actually happening and a lively end where our friend Mr. VAR or Mrs. VAR, let's move with the times here. Let's say it could be either Mr. or Mrs. VAR reared its ugly head when there was an Italian shout for a penalty, a check which didn't come to anything, and the strop the Italian players pulled after finding out they weren't getting it was worth the admission. For the first half, it took those last few minutes to really kick into life for me. In the studio at half-time, future Question Time presenter Gary Lineker was joined by the solid lineup of the old warhorse himself, Alan Shearer, now in his 15th year as a BBC pundit, I should say. Cesc Fabregas, who was as charming and soft-spoken as ever. Calm down, ladies, don't get too hot under the collar. And, well, Rio Ferdinand, who's a bit of a prat as always, and had dodgy facial hair. So, 2 out of 3 isn't too bad. It's actually quite scary when Shearer's buying for the second best of the night, but hey, those are the breaks sometimes. Those are the breaks. And in a totally pointless halftime interview, the Beeb did that sort of stereotypical, well, let's send Robbie Savage, our token Welsh pundit, out to meet Welsh hero Gareth Bale for a pre-match interview before the Welsh's big kick-off tomorrow against Switzerland. And it was one of those by the numbers type interviews where neither looked like they wanted to be there. Bale has the charisma of basically like a toilet drainer. I think he makes JJ look like someone who really sets the world on fire. And by the way, check out Robbie Savage. He looks like some sort of like villain, like a cast-off style villain from like a really bad Russell Crowe action type film. I mean, just look at his appearance here. Dear God, how the mighty have fallen. But in the next instance, he actually sort of semi-redeemed himself, because when he joined Gary Lineker after the interview, after the recorded interview, he actually took a pop shot at PM Bojo for his gaff earlier in the week, where he apparently forgotten that the Welsh are there. Sadly, pretty soon we may all forget they're all there. Sorry, Wales fans, I couldn't resist. But in any case, he sort of became the hero of the night for a brief period when he took that pot shot at Bojo, because, hey, who doesn't want to? Then again, he did remind us that we've got maybe the worst Prime Minister ever, so, maybe it actually makes him the villain of the night. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on that one. It's time for the second half. Things only got better for the Italians early in the second half as they finally broke the deadlock, or rather Turkey did, snookering themselves with a classic own goal. And let's face it, it was going to take something like that to open up the game. And that was basically it for the Turkish. They might as well brought out the white flag at that point, because after a glorious own goal, they basically capitulated. They fell to pieces, and the Italian dominance only grew and grew. They went straight for the throats. They scored a second a few minutes later with a tap-in off a goalkeeping save. A nice slick bit of movement leading up to it, and then the goal of the night was the third indeed, a brilliantly curved shot beyond the keeper into the far corner, a nice pass into the far corner, great technique, and a brilliant passing move which led to it. But again, far too much space. At this point, Turkey had given up the ghost. And a convincing 3-0 win for the Italians, who deserved it on the night because of their more progressive, more ambitious style of play. Turkey were a big disappointment based on some of the pre-tournament hype. I at least expected them to give Italy a game, and obviously they did quite well to hold it to 0-0 at half time. But Italy in the end just had too much, and I mean, who knows if they hadn't got the break with the own goal, things still could have been different. But obviously, clear winners. Italy deserved it, and they did it with some style. But it's fair to say that they'll come up against much bigger tasks. But hey, what I said Italy before this tournament, and I'm sticking with it because I've got to back them now. I can't just chicken out. Who knows? I mean, maybe if Wales pull up a shock win tomorrow, maybe I'll go with them because I'm just fickle this way. But Turkey, very disappointed with Turkey. I think we can blame the so-called pundits for hyping them up as potential dark horses. In any case, a solid opening match to the tournament and much fun to be had at the expense of the BBC. Now, if anybody watched the Peter Crouch show, the sort of post-Euro show later on, which I did and I'll confess, I can't imagine why. I'm sure it was hilarious, but if anyone did, then please let me know. just how crap it was. I'm dying. I'm just gagging for details. So that's the first match of this bizarre Euro 2020/2021 in the books. Looking ahead tomorrow, where we have 3 games. And first of all, Wales do in fact take their bow at these Euros. They will face Switzerland in Baku. That's the early game, which is on BBC. And I'll make a prediction for that. And my prediction is I think Wales could get a bit of a stuffing. I do fear for them, I have to say, in that one. I fear for them in the group. It's a tough group. I think the one potential hope for them is that in some groups, I think third place will be enough to get you through. I mean, they might not even make third, but I guess after Turkey's performance tonight, I guess there's some hope that they may get something against Turkey at least. But tomorrow, I expect Switzerland to have too much. I think they've got too much big tournament experience. Shaqiri's a brilliant, unpredictable midfielder, and they're very solid at the back as well. I think Switzerland are a solid tournament team, so I'm going to go 4-1 Switzerland. I think there could be a few goals. I just see Wales maybe freezing a bit on the big stage and against that sort of experience. I just have a feeling it could be a bit of a drumming. Looking forward to the other games. Denmark, Finland. That's in Copenhagen, so home advantage for Denmark. Denmark are another one of these teams that are being talked up as potential dark horses for the tournament. I mean, could it be 1992 all over again? What a Euros moment that was. Now, I'm going to be honest and say I don't know a great deal about Finland. So I'm going to go for a Denmark win there. I will go for a 2-1 win. I sort of figure it's going to be, pretty close. Finland are kind of, from what I hear at least, sort of solid and decent, and I sort of see that as being quite a sort of a close game. I don't think Denmark are the most explosive when it comes to attacking, so I'll go for a narrow 2-1 win there. And then in the evening, the later game, which should be very interesting, is Belgium against Russia. So Belgium, who people again are saying, is this finally going to be the tournament? In many ways, it could be their last chance for a while, because this Euros, I think, is quite wide open, bar maybe France, who seem like the true outstanding team. But Belgium, Russia should be a good spectacle. And, based on their performance at the World Cup 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, actually, I think the Russians could give Belgium a decent game. I think there are sort of vulnerabilities to exploit with Belgium at the back and maybe having a bit of a soft centre sometimes. If Russia have a solid strategy, they could cause Belgium some pressure, but let's see, 0-0. I'm going 0-0. Russia to get something against Belgium, who I still expect to get out of the group, but I put my money where my mouth is. You can't fault me for that. And sorry for the boring scoreline, but that's it for today's Euro. Let me know what you thought of the opening. Let me know how shambolic the Peter Crouch post-match show was, whatever he's calling it. And let me know what you think of tomorrow's games. I'll be back with another Euro report tomorrow / early Sunday. Thanks, guys, and goodbye.